Tip number 1, acknowledge that boring is a state of mind. People aren't inherently boring. It's that feeling of boredom which messes with how we're perceived. So let's start by acknowledging our worth and proudly declare that you are interesting. No two people are the same. This is what you have to remember. People aren't inside your brain. No two people are the same. We all have unique experiences in life. No country thinks they're boring. Ireland, they say, are friendly. Americans are so optimistic. Mexico have such family bonds. Spaniards are passionate. The Germans are efficient. They're not stereotypes, but everybody has those unique qualities that people believe are true. Even that is a conversation starter, so that you're not boring. Tip number 2, our goal is to be well-rounded as an individual. It's time to mix things up. Enough of just scrolling all day in the superficiality of the moment. Diversify your interests. Pull inspiration from different areas of life and keep learning. Being less boring is all about being, so to speak, a lifelong student. It's about remembering what Socrates said, the more I know I don't know. If you don't have a thirst for getting to know more things every day, it's going to be very hard to be a well-rounded individual. So mixing it up is really about breaking free from just your norm, getting into other things that could be interesting as a conversation starter, so that you are less boring. And that leads me on to tip number 3. Try something new every single day. Breaking free from that routine. That's our kryptonite, where we're just stuck in the normal, mundane experience. Try out new experiences, whether that be daily, different routes to take, captivating podcasts that you wouldn't normally think of listening to. Keep it fresh. I once read a book, forget its name now, where it said, purposely go out and read the opposite mindset of what you were culturally brought up with. So in America, if you're a Republican, well, read Democratic news. See what they have to say. That's probably one of the big advantages that ChatGPT has given us, because theoretically, anytime you ask a question about a subject, it'll give you both perspectives. I've made a video on that. There'll be a link for it somewhere around here, where I really talk about it could actually be a good thing, where it gives us the knowledge of both sides of the argument. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially in a world that seems to be more polarized every single day. Tip number 4, seek out and engage somebody new in a conversation every day. Every day that you're out and about, step out of that comfort zone. Break that cycle of just talking to the same old people all the time, whether that be at work, whether it be in your studies. I'm sick of hearing about all the problems that Jimmy has. Don't keep telling me every day. Give me something new. Now, engaging with people, it can be a game changer. It can be a game changer for your own personal growth, for your self-confidence. And it's not about throwing out big, deep conversation starters that you'd have at a dinner party. Is there any historical figure that you would love to have dinner with, dead or alive? That's the typical thing. No, senor. You want to keep it light. I was standing in a queue last night, waiting to be served. There was a guy standing next to me, and he had a suitcase. Well, there you go. And I said to him with a smile, are you arriving or are you leaving? And at the beginning, he sort of was a bit, and then he was very friendly. Oh, we're about to leave, going to carry these cases with us. Be observant. If there's one thing that can increase your ability to not be boring, it's being observant. I mean, another light conversation starter I could have started was, you see someone with a tattoo and you could say, bet that was sore. Whew, tattoos, eh? And people love talking about their tattoos. And that would lead on to, well, what's the meaning behind it? And man, that really, it's a life that's full of interest. Or you could say something like, oh, it looks like we arrived at the most busy time of the day. Murphy's Law, isn't it? Or you could say, have you been here before? What do you recommend on this menu? Or any nice drinks in this bar? There's so many little conversation starters other than saying, which here in Ireland is very typical, oh, the weather. I heard someone say once before, I think I've mastered the art of waiting in line. It's a hidden talent of mine. Again, self-deprecation can be funny. I used to have a shoe shop. Sometimes I would comment on that and I'd say, oh, I love your shoes. Have you ever noticed when we're in line, everybody has such different shoes? Like, there's 6, 7 examples to be less boring in a moment when conversation gives you an opportunity to engage, and the psychological benefits for the person that you speak to and engage with doesn't have to be super deep, just something outside of the ordinary. That will make you less boring, and anybody can achieve that. 5th and finally, constantly seek self-improvement. Life is about experiences. It's not just staring at our screens. We're diving into new learning. We're picking up new skills. We're striving for self-improvement. Striving for self-improvement. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. It's a surefire way to be many things, but boring will not be one of them. Another way of looking at this is think of how an artist's perspective makes things look. You may think you're boring. You may look at the Mona Lisa and only see a woman. But hey, it's an extraordinary woman for other people. The Mona Lisa could be seen as a woman staring from the side. But the art people will all say, oh, it's all about her smile, the ambiguity, the depth, the intrigue. It has that blur, it has that depth of field, there's symbolism in the fields and the rivers. So people always perceive things differently, and they'll perceive you differently. That's another way. Boring is being afraid to engage, and that will give off a vibe of a lack of self-confidence. And we want to be more confident, not arrogant, just confident. People love a confident individual, friendly individual. We're afraid that people are going to, in some way, absolutely tear us down. It won't happen. 9 times out of 10, it won't happen. Please, understanding personal feelings, overcome that boredom. And you might feel like you're holding back from engaging because of a fear that you're not going to be accepted in a way. And we tend to then suppress based on societal impressions or expectations. It really is time to be real, to reflect honestly, to embrace those unique emotional experiences and avoid being labeled as boring. The gift of being interesting, of being honest, of focusing. It's not about exceptional talent. It's about direction. It's about focus. It's about sharing uncensored experiences that you have had. And no one can really argue with that because you won't be alone in those complexities. I got a bit deep there towards the end. If you've made it this far, it's because you're interested in this theme. And that's why I've kept it simple. Conclusion. Let's recap before we go all of those 5 points. So you want to acknowledge your worth. You want to diversify your interests, break that routine, connect with other people, and never really stop improving. Embrace your uniqueness and share your genuine experiences. And let's really collectively break free from this societal boredom epidemic, which at times seems to be out there, where people have nothing to say on anything. It starts with you taking the first step. This is Patrick. I am very happy to be able to have shared my thoughts on how not to be boring. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. People are inherently, people aren't inherent. You are a wonderful person. You are a wonderful person.